Let's kick off this masterclass with a feeling I think pretty much every single person listening right now knows all too well. I want you to mentally go back to the last time you locked the front door to your business, walked out to your car, and felt like absolutely everything was genuinely handled. And, I don't mean handled enough for today or I'll put out those fires tomorrow. I mean completely 100% handled. For most small business owners we talk to, the totally honest answer is, I literally cannot remember the last time I felt that way. And honestly, that is the exact cycle we're going to break today. Look, you built this business because you're an absolute master of your craft. You didn't open your doors just so you could sit in the driver's seat of your car at 8 o'clock at night, totally drained, manually texting appointment reminders on your phone.
You hit the nail right on the head. The work that keeps business owners at the shop late is almost never the skilled work, right? It's never the actual dentistry, the auto repair, the contracting, or the haircut. It's the administrative wait. It's that one reminder you forgot to send. It's the invoice that's been sitting unpaid for 3 weeks simply because you didn't have the energy to chase it down. The supplier text you keep meaning to write but, keep forgetting. So this explainer is designed to show you exactly how to stop that cycle once and for all.
Which brings us right to the core question of this whole explainer. Why on earth are you spending your Tuesday nights doing admin instead of focusing on your actual craft? Or, frankly, just going home and resting? I look at this reality and I know exactly how much that operational friction just drains a person. You just want to do the work you're actually good at, but instead you're buried alive in repetitive tasks.
Exactly. And before we dive in, I want to set a few ground rules for how we're going to tackle this. This masterclass is going to be a very specific, tactical answer to that operational friction. There will be absolutely zero corporate hype here. We aren't selling software, and you are not going to hear any exaggerated tech buzzwords. No fluff whatsoever. We're simply two people who have actually run businesses, talking directly to those of you who currently are. We are looking strictly at the reality of the work. By the time we wrap this up, you're going to understand exactly why this admin problem exists, what it is mathematically costing you in real dollars every single month, and what the smartest, most competitive small businesses are doing right now to make it stop permanently.
All right, Module 1, the admin timing problem. Let's get right into it.
So, we need to talk about the quiet guilt that so many of us carry. I remember feeling this so intensely as an owner. You kind of feel like your admin problem is a personal failure. You sit there staring at a messy desk or a completely bloated inbox, and you think to yourself, well, if I was just more organized, if I were just more disciplined, if I just worked a little harder, this pile wouldn't exist.
Stop right there. I need every business owner listening to drop that guilt immediately. The reason you are drowning in operational admin has absolutely nothing to do with your personal discipline. It's actually a systemic failure in how the tools you use were designed in the first place. Let's compare information tools to action tools. Over the last 15 years, software companies built information tools. They give you dashboards, right? A dashboard shows you that you have 12 unconfirmed appointments tomorrow. It highlights an unpaid 3-week-old invoice in bright red on a CRM list. But here's the massive problem. It doesn't actually send the confirmation. It doesn't follow up on the invoice. These tools were built to organize your awareness of the problem, not to actually solve it. They basically gave you a library when what you desperately needed was a librarian.
Wow, that is a massive distinction. You're left with this huge execution gap. The dashboard just points at the fire, but the actual sending, the texting, the chasing down of clients, that all falls squarely back on the owner's incredibly tired shoulders. We bought information tools thinking they were action tools.
Exactly right. And let's look at the actual tasks falling into that execution gap. We're talking about appointment reminders at 24 hours and 2 hours prior. We're talking about invoice nudges at day 7 and day 14. Supplier check-ins, customer review requests, inventory alerts. Every single one of these tasks shares two very specific traits. First, they require absolutely zero professional skill.
Right. I always say a 10-year-old could easily type out those messages. It takes no specialized training to text a client, hey, your invoice is due.
But here's the second trait, and this is exactly where human operators fail. These tasks demand perfect timing. A busy human simply cannot guarantee perfect timing. If a review request goes out a full week after the service, it gets completely ignored. If an invoice follow-up goes out at day 45 instead of day 7, your collection rate absolutely plummets. If a supplier check-in falls through the cracks because you were busy with a client, you might miss a delivery right before the dinner rush. The cost isn't in the manual labor of the task itself. The true cost is in the missed timing.
Moving on to Module 2, the real cost of delay.
Okay, it's time to do the math that most of us honestly actively avoid doing. We're going to run the numbers out loud right now. As an owner, you probably have a vague sense this administrative friction is costing you, but very few people actually sit down and calculate the hard data. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to get a real specific number in your head. I'll ask it slowly. How many hours per week do you spend on tasks that you could easily describe to a 10-year-old?
And think carefully about this. We don't mean your skilled work. We don't mean your high-level judgment calls or the craft you spent years and years perfecting. We mean the mechanical execution, the sending, the texting, the following up, logging into portals. For a gym owner, it's manually emailing members who haven't shown up. For a contractor, it's typing out follow-ups on estimates you sent 3 days ago. For a salon owner, it's confirming tomorrow's color appointments. Add up the minutes. Be completely honest with yourself here. Count every single task. For most small business owners we talk to, the answer typically falls somewhere between 8 and 15 hours a week. Just holding the whole thing together. Lock in whatever your number is right now.
Now, let's attach the financial reality to that number you just came up with. What is your real hourly rate? I'm not asking what you charge your clients, but what your time is actually worth to the growth of the business. Let's take a very conservative number. Let's say your time is worth $100 an hour to the business. If you're spending just 10 hours a week on these mechanical tasks, that's $1,000 a week. That translates to a staggering $48,000 annual opportunity cost. Just think about that for a second. 48 grand a year. That is essentially a full-time starting salary, and you are spending it entirely on tasks a 10-year-old could execute. That number should feel genuinely uncomfortable to sit with. You're basically paying a premium out of your own potential revenue just to be an administrator. And the really harsh reality is, that $48,000 is only the opportunity cost of your time. It doesn't even touch the real top-line revenue that is actively leaking out of your business because your timing on those simple tasks was off.
Which brings us to the hidden cost of missed timing. Let's look at appointment no-shows as just one singular example. An unconfirmed appointment has a no-show rate of approximately 25%, but a confirmed appointment, one that received a perfectly timed text at 24 hours and a second nudge at 2 hours, has a no-show rate of just 4 to 6%. If a practice or a shop handles 30 appointments a week and each no-show represents a $200 procedure or service, simply closing that communication gap is worth up to $15,000 a year in recoverable revenue. Man, as an owner, you feel that in your bones. A missed 2-hour block for a contractor or an empty chair in a busy salon on a Saturday morning, that's revenue that just evaporates. You can literally never get that time back. Exactly. And that's just from 2 automated text messages per slot. Now run that exact same math on unrecovered invoices that age out because you forgot to nudge them. Run it on missed review requests that tank your local search ranking. The cost of doing nothing isn't zero. It is tens of thousands of dollars of your hard-earned revenue slipping quietly out the back door.
Module 3. Action over information dashboards. Let's see how we actually fix this.
Okay, so if we know the math and we know that buying yet another traditional dashboard is just going to add to our workload, what is the actual solution here? How do we fix this without me having to learn another incredibly complicated software program? Well, the smartest businesses are completely abandoning passive dashboards and implementing what's called early warning intelligence. The definition here is crucial. It is the continuous monitoring of the operational signals that precede a problem. Think about it. An unpaid invoice at 7 days is just a gentle reminder opportunity. At 30 days, it's a massive collection problem. An unconfirmed appointment at 24 hours is a simple text opportunity. At 30 minutes, it's a total no-show. The only difference is timing. So it's basically about catching the signal before the fire even starts. Yes, and here is the massive shift. These systems don't put the signal on a report for you to read later. They ingest the signal and act on it in real time, executing the follow-up entirely in the background. And they communicate with you through standard chat apps you already use, like WhatsApp or Telegram. If a system batches signals into an end-of-day report, it has already missed the perfect window on half of them. Early warning intelligence acts immediately.
Let's ground this in reality and look at how this applies across entirely different verticals. Imagine at 7:15 a.m. at a dental practice. The system has already sent all the confirmation texts. The owner gets a single Telegram message. 14 appointments today, 13 confirmed, 10:30 pending. Send second reminder. The owner just texts back one word, yes. Done. Over at an auto repair shop, the exact second a technician marks a job complete in the system, an instant text goes to the customer saying the car is ready. No manual phone call required from a busy service writer. In an independent restaurant, a purchase order sent out 3 days ago goes unconfirmed by the vendor. The assistant instantly pings the owner to escalate, entirely bypassing manual tracking.
And we see this working in service-based businesses too, right? Take a contractor. You spend 2 hours at a house taking measurements, you write up the estimate, you email it, and then you get busy on a job site and just totally forget to follow up. With this kind of setup, at exactly day 3, the system automatically texts the homeowner asking if they have any questions about the estimate. Or think about a gym. A member hasn't swiped their keycard in 14 days. Instead of the owner running a report at the end of the month, the system catches that 14-day signal instantly and texts the member a friendly check-in, saving that membership before they decide to cancel. It's totally tailored to the specific business.
And the real-world transformations when these timed actions take over are profound. For that auto repair shop, before automation, technicians would finish a job, walk the paperwork up, and the front desk would eventually remember to call the customer, averaging 4 hours until the car was picked up. After automation triggers the instant completion text, average wait times drop to 45 minutes, drastically increasing lot turnover. For a 12-chair salon, setting up a perfectly timed text exactly 5 weeks post-visit, right when a haircut naturally starts to grow out, increased client retention by 20% in the first 90 days. And for that restaurant, supplier check-ins became 100% automated, virtually eliminating the crisis of missing deliveries an hour before dinner prep. All of this happens in the background, without the owner ever logging into a dashboard.
Okay, I have to step in here. The numbers look absolutely incredible, the time savings sound great, but if I'm a smart, tired business owner listening to this right now, I have a very loud, skeptical voice running through my head saying, yeah, but. Let's get real about the pushback.
That's completely fair. Let's do Module 4, answering your real objections. All right, here is the first major objection. I hear this all the time. Look, I've tried AI before. I played with it last year. It gave me a generic social media content calendar that I didn't even use. It felt like a total fad, and I just ended up with another software subscription I forgot to cancel. And you know what? That is a completely fair response to the first wave of AI tools we saw over the past 2 years. But we have to make a very clear distinction between generative AI and action-based AI. Generative tools, like the ones that write content or make pictures, just suggest things for you to act on. You still have to do the actual work. An action-based assistant actually executes the physical task. It's the exact difference between hiring a financial advisor who simply suggests which stocks to buy and hiring a portfolio manager who actually logs in and makes the trades for you. If, at the end of the week, your appointment reminders, invoice nudges, and estimate follow-ups went out automatically without you typing a single word, that's not a fad, that is concrete action. Automation has powered massive corporations for 40 years. It's just finally accessible and affordable for the local small business. Okay, fair enough. But what about the technical side? Because my immediate objection is, I am not technical. I am great at my craft, but I cannot manage a complicated software system. The fear is downloading a new tool, staring at a confusing wall of settings and toggles, and just shutting the laptop in absolute frustration.
I want to reassure everyone listening right now, there are no settings menus. There are no web portals you have to log into. You do not manage the system the way you manage traditional software. You simply communicate with it, in plain English, over WhatsApp or Telegram. If you decide you want your appointment reminder changed from 2 hours prior to 1 hour prior, you don't hunt for a drop-down menu. You pull out your phone and text the assistant, change the second reminder to 1 hour. And it replies, done. It's designed perfectly for non-technical users because it operates exactly like a normal text conversation with a reliable staff member.
That leads perfectly into the final and probably most common objection. I just don't have time to set this up right now. I'm way too busy just keeping my head above water. It always feels like the timing is wrong to implement something new. I say this gently, but the business owners who say they don't have time to fix their administrative problems are usually the ones who are buried the absolute deepest in them. The massive shift here is that you do not set this up yourself. The entire onboarding process is simply a 30-minute intake call. During that call, you just describe your biggest operational time drains. That is the end of your time commitment. The team takes that information, builds the working assistant for you, and hands the keys back to you in 48 hours. You are delegating the setup. The actual cost of your time to escape this daily administrative friction is exactly 30 minutes.
Module 5. Stop running from memory. This is where it gets real.
We've talked a lot about the math, about recovering revenue and saving time, but I really want to shift the focus to the profound cognitive transformation that happens for the business owner. Time savings are really only part of the story. Let's look at the chronological timeline of what actually happens. In week 1, the assistant takes over the raw daily execution, the reminders, the check-ins. By month 1, you are actively seeing top-line revenue recovered from prevented no-shows and perfectly timed invoice follow-ups. But it's around month 3 that the real magic happens. By month 3, you completely stop holding the operational state of your business in your head.
That is the part that resonates so deeply, because most owners are running a 24/7 background mental process. You're driving home, or you're at your kid's soccer game, and your brain is quietly tracking every unpaid invoice, every pending estimate, every supplier who hasn't texted you back. It is an absolute drain. It consumes the cognitive space that should be reserved for your actual life, your client relationships, or the quality of your work.
And the ultimate goal is exactly this core idea. You stop being the person who holds everything together by memory. Every owner knows that midnight panic. Your eyes shoot open at 2 a.m. and you think, did I send that follow-up text to the Henderson job? Or did I remind the new client to fill out their intake form? Getting rid of that panic is completely life-changing. Exactly. That background anxiety vanishes entirely. And it vanishes not because you stopped caring about your business, but because you finally have a system that reliably handles the execution. You receive a single end-of-day summary text on your phone, you look at it, you know it was all handled perfectly on time, and you can actually go to sleep. That cognitive freedom, that complete lack of operational friction, is the thing business owners describe most vividly once they experience it. Getting your mental space back is the ultimate prize.
So how do we bridge the gap from where you are now to that state of operational freedom? Well, the next step isn't to buy software. The next step is simply to do a workflow audit. We provide a completely free, zero-pressure, 30-minute intake audit call. This is an exploratory process to uncover the hidden math in your specific operations. Step 1, book the time. Step 2, we sit down together and identify your 3 highest priority automation opportunities. We look for the exact tasks where the gap between what needs to happen and perfectly timed execution is costing you the most. Step 3, you receive exact, mathematically sound time and revenue recovery estimates for fixing those gaps. And to be crystal clear, this is strictly free value. Whether you decide to move forward and have a system built, or you decide to walk away, you're going to leave that 30-minute call with a clear map of exactly what is leaking out of your business and how it can be fixed. It's pure clarity.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final, very calibrated question. For the business owner who has listened to this explainer, who has been doing the math in their head, who recognizes their own Tuesday night struggles, but who hasn't decided to book the audit yet, what is the mathematical cost of waiting another month? That is the question you have to answer. Because if you wait, you have to calculate the invoices that will sit for another 30 days unpaid. You have to calculate the estimates that will go cold because you forgot to follow up. You have to calculate the no-shows that won't be prevented. That number is the exact, tangible cost of deferring this decision. The audit call itself is completely free. The only thing waiting costs you is another entire month of dealing with the exact same friction you already know you have. I want to warmly invite you to book that 30-minute call using the link provided. Map out those friction points. Find out what the math really looks like for your specific shop, your clinic, or your firm. You built this business because you are incredibly good at something: your trade, your craft, your service to your community. The operational admin shouldn't be the thing that slowly grinds you down and takes you away from that.
Absolutely. Protect your craft. Make sure the business lets you keep doing what you are exceptionally good at, rather than turning you into a full-time, highly stressed administrator. Thank you for joining us for this explainer. We deeply respect the work you are out there doing, and we look forward to talking with you on the call.